As November quickly approaches, so does the New York mayoral race, and it's getting tight, it's getting close, and we got to do a little update on it. Zohran and Cuomo and the Republican Curtis Sliwa, they all got together for a little debate, and it was pretty entertaining. But first, Zohran went into the lion's den over at Fox News, and not only does he kick ass and take names, but he actually manages to squeeze out a little compliment out of the host, and it was pretty impressive. Let's take a look, see.
Legislature to raise individual taxes, income taxes, and also corporate taxes in New York, which you've said you would like to do in order to pay for the free buses and the free childcare and the different programs, the government grocery stores and the like. She says no new taxes in her governor's race. So what are you going to do if
She's talking about the governor, Kathy Hochul, and I've talked about this in the past. Kathy Hochul is running for re-election next year, and she is facing somebody who is more progressive than her. So Zohran has got a very good opportunity to push his agenda because she needs his support for her run in 2026. She needs to appear to be more progressive than she actually is. And by doing stuff that Zohran Mamdani is going to want to do here in New York City, that will give her a little bit more progressive bona fides, and this will help Zohran get his policies done.
she won't allow taxes to be raised, how will you pay for these programs?
You know, I've said time and again,
how you going to pay for it? How you going to pay for it? It's always fucking how you going to pay for it. $1.1 trillion this year for the military budget. They've never passed an audit ever. Sorry, I digress, but I'm so sick of the how you going to pay for it argument.
I believe these are the most straightforward ways that we can actually fund universal childcare, making buses fast and free. And I've said that the two clear ways to do so, raising personal income taxes on the top 1% by 2%, and raising the corporate tax to match that of New Jersey's corporate tax of 11.5%. Now, if there are other ways to raise this money to fund this agenda, the most important thing is that we fund the agenda. I still think that these are the most important and clear ways we can do it. And I'm thankful to have Governor Hochul's support in this race, and the fact that she said we have a shared commitment to delivering universal childcare for New Yorkers across the city.
There you go.
I think that's great. I think everybody would love to have free health care and free buses and all these things, but the question is, how do you pay for it? The city's already in debt.
There she goes.
The governor says no to new taxes. Like Margaret Thatcher said, you know, socialism's great until you run out of everyone else's money.
Yeah, well, capitalism is great until you run out of the poor people's labor and their money. So, sure.
People's money.
Well, what Andrew Cuomo said is that if he had $959 million, he'd give it to Elon Musk in tax credits, because that's exactly what he did. And I bring that up to you to say that it's often a question of whether you have the willingness to spend that money to benefit working class people, not where that money is in the first place.
So what would you cut? What would you draw from to do it?
I don't think we have to cut. I've spoken about raising taxes on the wealthiest. And frankly, this is an issue that we have here in New York City, and frankly, even across this country. When I've spoken to Trump voters right here in New York City, Hillside Avenue in Queens, Fordham Road in the Bronx, they've told me it was cost of living that drove them to vote for Donald Trump. They've told me it was a promise of a lower actual, whether it be cheaper groceries, whether it be childcare, whether it be rent.
Right.
And what we're seeing time and time again is we're more focused on the question of billionaires and the most profitable corporations than we are on people who can't even afford to make ends meet in this city.
Ultimately, it's not the Mexicans. It's not the immigrants. It's not the trans people. It's the billionaires. It's always been the billionaires. They are the ones that suck more out of our economy than anybody else. And before you say, oh, they pay so much in taxes, well, they make all of the fucking money. Elon Musk has more money, one man, than the bottom half of the goddamn country. So don't give me this shit about how you going to pay for it. Tax the fuck out of them. Once you get $1 billion, you won capitalism. You retire, go move to an island and drink mojitos and eat bonbons for the rest of your life and enjoy it. Stop sucking up all of the cash that the rest of us could use. When it comes to money, it is a zero-sum game, and they have all of the game.
Well, we know affordability is an issue, and I think that all politicians are getting to an understanding of that, and I think that you've done a lot, actually, to bring people's attention to that issue.
Look at that, man. She gave him a little compliment on Fox News. Not too shabby, I gotta say, man. I wanted to go on to this other video regarding giving Trump credit for the ceasefire in Gaza. It's been a few days since the ceasefire, and Israel has already broken the ceasefire. In the last week, they've killed over 100 people, and they've bombed dozens of buildings. So when you say ceasefire, and you don't cease all the fire. Is it really a ceasefire? But she asked him whether or not he's going to give Donald Trump credit for it. And this is before, I mean, this is like directly after the ceasefire. So she's asking him, I would say earnestly, but we all know it's bullshit. And he does give an earnest answer.
And when it comes to the ceasefire, I am thankful and I have hope that it will actually endure and that it will be lasting. And I continue to have concerns because I've seen reports still.
And by the way, I hate to keep interrupting here, but asking the New York City mayor about international affairs, Israel and Gaza, is ridiculous. They are asking specifically because they know he's a Muslim and they're doing everything they can to trip him up. Unfortunately for Fox News, Zohran is really good about not only not getting tripped up, but also bringing it back to policy, which the Democrats need to learn this lesson.
Just in the last few days that 5 Palestinians were killed by the Israeli military. And that's what gives me pause about issuing any kind of praise or celebration at a moment when it is still so in its infancy. And what I will tell you is that in that same moment, it is also one that requires a focus on ensuring that that hope, that belief in a better future is one that is emblematic in our policies right here in New York City as well. And that's what we're hoping to lead with.
Would you give President Trump credit or not, to any extent? Credit or not?
I think it's too early to do so.
Too early to say.
But if it proves to be something that is lasting, something that is durable, then I think that that's where you give credit.
So there you go. He is not only bringing it back to policy, but he's also not willing to give credit without credit being due. He just mentioned there that 5 people have been killed, and this is directly after the ceasefire. Meanwhile, now a few days after this interview, it's over 100 people dead. So doesn't seem like a ceasefire to me.
Israel and the United States for the response to the slaughter on October the 7th. In fact, at times you called it a lasting stain, the response, and at times you have left October 7th out of your statements completely around this issue. Right now, you just talked about Israelis killing some Palestinians, but Hamas is killing Palestinians within Gaza. And they have not returned the bodies that they promised to return, including 2 Americans.
Maybe because they're under rubble, honey. By the way, I wanted to show you this because she mentioned it. She brought it up. Hamas is killing Palestinians. Israel and Hamas trade accusations as tensions rise over hostages remain. So if you want to say that Hamas is got hostages, then you have to say that Israel is taking hostages as well. And we've already established that many of these Israeli hostages are under rubble. Maybe that's one of the reasons why they haven't returned them. But there's a handful of them that they returned, and they're supposed to be, delivering bodies back. But how are they able to deliver bodies if they're literally under rubble? I also wanted to point this out too. So there were some Palestinians who were working with Israel from the inside, and apparently Hamas, after the ceasefire, killed those guys. And before you say that that's horrible and that's bad, I will agree with you. Killing people is always bad. But this is the president saying that shit.
And initially speaking, they did take out a couple of gangs that were very bad, very, very bad gangs, and they did take them out, and they killed a number of gang members. And that didn't bother me much, to be honest with you. That's okay. It's a couple of very bad gangs. It's no different than other countries.
Israel is hiring gangs to steal food from the Palestinians. And Hamas was like, dude, this is bullshit. And by the way, when you hear America or Israel talking about we need a partner for peace, the only person that's breaking the deal is Israel. Every time Hamas comes up with a peace deal, every time America comes up with a peace deal, Hamas is like, okay, we'll do it. There was actually a peace deal on the table where Hamas said, we will lay down our arms and we will leave this country. We will move the hell out and get out of the way. Give you everything that you want as long as you will not invade and reoccupy Gaza. And Israel said, no deal. They want Hamas there. Israel wants Hamas. They need a boogeyman. They need the bad guy. So when I hear that news reporter, talking to Zohran Mamdani about it, it gives me a little bit of pause. You know what I'm saying? Moving on. This is the debate between Zohran and Cuomo. And of course, Curtis Sliwa was there. He's got absolutely no chance of winning. He's the Republican, and he'll get most of the votes on Staten Island, and that'll be pretty much it. But here's the funny thing. Zohran came out the winner in this one, and the second place was not Cuomo. It was Curtis Sliwa. There are more people more interested in Curtis Sliwa than they are in Andrew Cuomo. Everybody from Republican to Democrat knows that Andrew Cuomo is crooked as a dog's hind leg. He is corrupt as the day is long, and we are sick of him and we want him to go away. But since he is a wealthy Nepo baby, he feels completely entitled. Hey, I lost the Democratic primary. I shouldn't even be in this race. But you know what? I'm entitled. I'm entitled to do this. My last name is Cuomo. Don't you know my father was Mario Cuomo? Anyway, this is the intro, and just want to show you the baseline of where Zohran is at, and then we'll go from there.
Management experience. How are you ready to lead the nation's largest and greatest city in the world in one day? You have a minute.
I have the experience of having served in the New York State Assembly for 5 years and watching a broken political system, the experience of seeing a governor in Andrew Cuomo who would rather have served his billionaire donors and the working class New Yorkers who voted for him, and the experience amidst all of that of fighting and winning for working class taxi drivers to free them from predatory debt and delivering the first free bus lines in New York City history, and in working with unions and working class New Yorkers to finally raise taxes just that little bit on Mr. Cuomo's donors to start to fully fund our public school. And more than that, I have the experience of being a New Yorker, someone who has actually paid rent in the city before I ran for mayor, someone who has had to wait for a bus that never came, someone who actually buys his groceries in this same city. And what all of that experience has shown me, which Mr. Cuomo can't seem to understand, is that it is far too expensive and far too hard for New Yorkers to afford to live in this city. And the definition of experience is not doing the same thing again and again and hoping for a different result. That's actually the definition of insanity.
Thank you, Mr.
Hey, I pay rent in this city. I pay for groceries in this city. Andrew Cuomo does not live here. He is a carpetbagger. He is shacked up at his daughter's Upper West Side apartment, paying something like $7,000-8,000 a month in rent. So yeah, the common man. He is a Nepo baby running on his father's legacy, and he could not carry his father's legacy in a fucking suitcase. Now I want to move on to this next one here. It's pretty good.
He has a distant relationship with the truth. I would say to the president in the first conversation, look, we have had many, many battles. We fought together every day during COVID. And the battles.
But Trump also mentioned that he gets along with Andrew Cuomo. Sure. Okay. But battle royale.
Were bloody. And I'd like to avoid them. If you come after New York, you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to give away everything to whoever pushes on me. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to sell out to real estate because that's what you have been doing. Be ugly. And my chances are almost 50-50, even though you're the president. I'd like to work with you. I think we can do good things together. But number one, I will fight you every step of the way if you try to hurt New York.
Unless he weaponizes the justice system to go after the attorney general of the state, in which case you'll issue a statement that doesn't even name the president. And no matter what you think about Donald Trump, you know that not even being able to name him is an act of cowardice. And that's what we would see from Donald Trump's puppet on the right.
I do.
That's true. He did not even mention Letitia James and the fact that Donald Trump has been going after her. And that was his attorney general. So he doesn't give a fuck about her. Stand up to Donald Trump, my ass. Here's another one for you.
Justice system and the politics.
If you think that there's no difference between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, then that's the candidate for you. If you think it's time to have a Democratic Party that actually stands up to Donald Trump and his billionaire-backed assault on working people,
thank
you,
Mr. Mamdani. You're not a Democrat, right? You're not a Democrat. You're a Democratic socialist. You didn't vote for Kamala Harris, right?
We have other ground to cover. We have other ground to cover.
That's an incendiary charge. I want to be very.
You may have a chance to address it, but we do.
I'll be very quick.
A lot of issues to get to with New Yorkers, Mr. Mamdani.
I'll be very quick.
You didn't say leave it blank in the Kamala campaign?
I'll be very quick. I said leave it blank in the presidential primary because primaries are a place to air dissent. And like many Americans, I was horrified by the Israeli genocide of Palestinians.
I did that as well. During the primary, I did not vote for Joe Biden. We had primaries early. So our primary here in New York, our primary election was before the Donald Trump, Joe Biden snafu debate where Joe Biden looked like he was a deer in the fucking headlights. We in New York, a lot of us abstained from voting. We filled out all of the other people who were running in the primary. We checked all those boxes, but we left Joe Biden blank in the primary to show them, hey, this whole Gaza thing, it's a real issue with us New Yorkers. And it wasn't just here in New York, it was across the country. Many states had abstaining votes from Joe Biden during the primary. Doesn't mean they didn't vote in the election, the national election, but in the primary election, a lot of people withheld their votes just as a protest to let Joe Biden and Kamala Harris know that it is a real serious issue what Israel is doing with their genocide in Gaza. And Zohran Mamdani basically saying here that he did exactly the same thing.
And if you want to look for me on the ballot, you'll find me as the Democrat.
Mr. Mamdani, thank you.
I just wanted to get that little bit out there because it's true. Andrew Cuomo is not a Democrat. He's sitting there saying, you're not a Democrat, you're a democratic socialist. I'm a Democrat. No, dude, you're an independent. You lost the Democratic primary. Moving on, we got another one here. Andrew Cuomo is asked about the Muslim community. He's been railing at Zohran Mamdani about how he is going to be dangerous for all of the Jewish people here in New York. By the way, the majority of the Jewish vote in the primary went to Zohran Mamdani. But I digress. Let's see what he's got to say here, Andrew Cuomo, in regards to how he feels and how he treats the Muslim community.
Israel, you have also been slow to develop a relationship with the city's Muslim community. You have called Mr. Mamdani a terrorist sympathizer. How do you assure those New Yorkers, especially Muslims and Arabic New Yorkers, that you will be a mayor for all? You'll have 1 minute.
Yeah, well, first, I think the Assemblyman created the perception himself. Why wouldn't he condemn Hamas? Why wouldn't he condemn Hassan Piker? Why did...
Like, I got to make mention of this. It's small potatoes, very small beans. But if you don't know who Hassan Piker is, he is very famous on Twitch. He is probably one of the biggest streamers that Twitch has, and he has got great politics. He is definitely on the left, and he's met with Zohran Mamdani. And at one point before he met Zohran Mamdani years ago, Hassan said something that got him suspended from Twitch, and where he said that America deserved 9/11 because of all of the Middle Eastern adventures that we have done over there. And he was insinuating that that caused 9/11. Now, whether you believe that or not, that was Hassan Piker that said that, a Twitch streamer that lives in LA. And here is Andrew Cuomo bringing it up as some kind of knife or a shiv to stick in Mamdani's back. Mamdani didn't say this, Hassan Piker did. But since they're both Muslims, and by the way, she asked, how are you doing with the Muslim community? How have you tried to mend bridges? Well, I'm going to show you right now how I stab a Muslim in the back by using another Muslim as the excuse. Jesus fucking Christ. Watch. He does not answer this question. He just continues to bash on Muslims. So I guess his community outreach with the Muslim community is not super hot.
To take us here tonight for the first time for him to say it. He still won't denounce globalize the intifada, which means...
He won't denounce globalize the intifada. I love those things. The way they fry them up, they're so nice. They're very delicious. I love Mexican food. I hate Mexican people. I love Mexican food. Globalize the intifada.
Kill all Jews. Just say, I denounce it. He won't.
No, globalize the intifada is not kill all Jews. That is the calculation that you're making in your fucking head, you racist asshat.
Do it. That's the issue.
Mr.
And his divisiveness
Cuomo, can you address the question
is
that we're putting
chronic.
to you? I think you've made the point, but can you please answer about your own relationship with the Muslim community? You did not visit mosques for many years. More recently, you have been.
Yeah, I don't think in any way the Assemblyman is representative of the Muslim community, which is a vital community in New York City.
So the only Muslim guy on stage is not representative of the Muslim community. Sure, man, your Italian ass is, though.
I am very fond of, and I've been working with.
I'm so fond of him.
He's playing his own politics. Many of his positions don't even follow the Muslim faith, so I see them as two totally separate things.
Now he's going to explain the Muslim faith. Please, Mr. Cuomo, explain to us how it works. I met an imam one time, and that imam told me that I was great. You are fucking blue MAGA. You are literally the same dude. You are Donald Trump wearing a blue tie.
Mamdani, you want to respond?
You know, it took Andrew Cuomo being beaten by a Muslim candidate in the Democratic primary for him to set foot in a mosque. He had more than 10 years, and he couldn't name a single mosque at the last debate we had that he visited. And what Muslims want in this city is what every community wants and deserves. They want equality, and they want respect. And it took me to get you to even see those Muslims as part of this city. And that, frankly, is something that is shameful and is why so many New Yorkers have lost faith in this politics.
Yeah, except, you know, that is totally false. I worked with the Muslim community for many years.
Name a single mosque you went to when you were the governor. Can you name a single mosque you went to in 10 years?
Before you were ever here.
Before I was here?
Before you were even in the state government. I worked with the Muslim community. Imams presided over State of the States. We worked in religious working groups, tolerance groups, anti-Semitic groups, etc.
All right, gentlemen. Mr. Sliwa, Rosario has a specific question for you, but I'll give you a second.
Zohran, this is what disturbs me about you. You will be celebrating your birthday this weekend. In 1991, I was in the streets of Crown Heights.
Doing vigilante justice. Don't fuck with me. I put on my red hat and I fuck you up. All right, we're going to move on here. Let's see here. They spent a great deal of time in the first hour of this debate talking about Israel, which I was just complaining about a minute ago in the Fox News interview that Zohran did. They want this debate to have a little controversy, and they're trying their damnedest to trip up old Zohran. Of course, he's not getting tripped up in this stuff. He's very good, and he always brings it back to policy. But I wanted to go over this. They were asking about whether or not Israel has a right to exist as a Jewish state. And Zohran actually answers it not only in a way where he's defending the Jews, but he's also putting down this whole idea of a Jewish-only state.
Barack Obama is evil, liar, and he gave the finger to the Christopher Columbus statue.
Hey, every time I go by the Christopher Columbus statue, I flip it off as well. He's a genocide motherfucker. Jesus Christ, man. He thought he landed in America and killed a whole bunch of indigenous people on a goddamn island. Yeah, let's celebrate that dude. I got a better idea. How about we celebrate another Italian that didn't do a genocide? No, we got to go with Christopher Columbus. He killed a bunch of brown people. That's what we like about him.
By the way, Cuomo, your laws with no cash bail turn the haters right back in the streets to violate and attack again and again and again.
Thank you.
You're the reason for that. No cash bail.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Thank you. Go ahead.
There have been a number of absolutely unfounded lies that have been said by Andrew Cuomo. I would just like a moment to address them directly. I've said time and again that I recognize Israel's right to exist. I've said that I will not recognize any states. I said that I will not.
As a Jewish state.
If I would be allowed to finish, that I would not recognize any state's right to exist with a system of hierarchy on the basis of race or religion. I have made that very clear. And part of that is because I'm an American who believes in the importance of equal rights being enshrined in every single country, whether we're speaking about Israel or whether we're speaking about Saudi Arabia. You can stand here and you can lie all you want, but New Yorkers know
the question.
To his point, the idea of as a Jewish state, meaning as the Jews run everything and all of the Palestinians are second-class citizens. Ultimately, that's what Andrew Cuomo is talking about. And not to mention the fact that Andrew Cuomo offered up his legal services to Benjamin Netanyahu, the fucking war criminal. So does Israel have a right to exist? Yeah, it does. As a one-nation state where everybody has equal rights, Israelis and Palestinians included. This whole idea of a two-state solution is a fantasy. It's a fucking fantasy because Israel will never allow it to happen. There's only one option, a free and democratic Israel. Barack Obama's Secretary of State, John Kerry, said it best. You can either have an Israeli state or you can be a democracy. You can't have both. He is absolutely right, and that is what Zohran is saying here. But ultimately, that is not what Bibi Netanyahu wants, and that is not what the Likud party wants. They want a totalitarian, authoritarian Israeli state where Palestinians are permanent second-class citizens. Moving on, I'm trying to show you some good spots in this. They talk about the National Guard invading New York and what each mayoral candidate would do in that event where Donald Trump does the invasion.
Use their help in dealing with their crime crisis.
Thank you, Mr. Sliwa. Mr. Mamdani, how will you respond?
You know, I agree with Police Commissioner Tish in that we do not need the National Guard here in New York City. We do not need them for the purpose of safety, because if it was safety that President Trump was so concerned about, he would send them to the 8 out of 10 states that have the highest levels of crime in this country, but he won't, because they're all run by Republicans. What New Yorkers need is a mayor who can stand up to Donald Trump and actually deliver on that safety. When Donald Trump sent ICE agents on people in Los Angeles, Andrew Cuomo said that New Yorkers need not overreact. That is the furthest answer that New Yorkers are looking for. They are looking for someone who will lead, someone who will say that they will have their back, someone who will actually fight for the people of this city. And that's who I am, because I'm not funded by the same donors that gave us Donald Trump's second term, which isn't something that Andrew Cuomo can say.
Thank you, Mr. Mamdani.
Yeah, first, the answer in the subways is not more National Guard. I put the National Guard in the subways also. It's more NYPD is the answer. But the National Guard is not, he's not sending in the National Guard to do any real function. It's control, it's power. He's trying to say these Democrats don't know how to run these cities, and it's a political gesture by sending in the National Guard. He has said if the Assemblyman is elected, he will take over New York. Forget.
Well, that right there is straight up election interference. Now, of course, Donald Trump doesn't give a flying fuck about laws or rules. He's going to do whatever the hell he's going to do. But that right there sounds pretty much like extortion. I mean, whose side are you on, man? Seriously. And how much are you going to cater to the president so he doesn't invade? Donald Trump is going to invade this city because he wants to. He's already talked about it. It doesn't matter who is the mayor. He is going to do it. And by the way, ICE is already here doing their fuckery under Eric Adams. So if Zohran gets in and does a little bit of pushback, then Donald Trump is going to send in the National Guard. But if Andrew Cuomo was in there and he didn't do everything that Donald Trump wanted, he would send in the National Guard there anyway, because he wants to. Because he wants to be a king. He wants to be a fucking dictator. Stop making the excuses. Don't elect Zohran because then Donald Trump will take over the city. Donald Trump is going to do that shit anyway. He wants to.
The National Guard.
But this is
he
the
said,
question.
I'm going to take the funds.
If they order the troops to come here, what
yes,
would you do?
Well, I went through this with him. He sent the National Guard to 20 cities when I was governor. You know what city he didn't send them to? New York. Why? Because I said to him, don't you dare, we don't need it, and he backed down, and he will again.
So that proves a good relationship
Wait a
with
second.
the president.
The president is going to back down to you, Andrew Cuomo. I know you think you're the toughest guy alive. But let me tell you something.
Look, Curtis Sliwa is a New York icon. He has been around for a long ass time. And nobody takes him seriously because, he's a bit of a lunatic. And the fact that he does vigilante justice in New York, and we allow him to do it, I think it was because years and years ago, the mob tried to kill him. They shot him 4 times. And I think that most New Yorkers have known him since the 70s and 80s. And they give him a pass on being a open air vigilante with his guardian angels. As far as a New York Republican goes, Curtis Sliwa is the quintessential New York Republican.
You lost your own primary, right? You were rejected by your Democrats.
Why
and you
didn't
have a
send the National
difficult
Guard?
understanding that what the term no is. You're not going to stand up to Donald Trump.
I agree with Curtis.
You're not going to stand up to Donald Trump.
Okay.
And he can't stand up to Donald Trump, who knocked him
we have
right
a
on his
follow-up.
tuchus.
We have a
You
follow-up.
negotiate with him. You don't fight with him,
Sliwa,
because
thank you.
only the people of New York City will lose.
We
yeah.
do
You
have a
stand up
follow-up.
to negotiate.
We have a follow-up.
Anyway, I just wanted to get that little bit out about Curtis. That was pretty good. And it is true. Andrew Cuomo has a hard time taking no for an answer. I got one here regarding protests in the city and whether or not they are in agreement with having protests in the city.
As mayor, talk about how you would balance the right to protest with maintaining order in the streets.
The right to
You have 1
protest.
minute.
The right to protest is a sacred right. There is no doubt about that.
Well,
But
we'll see
the
about
law
that.
is the law also. And you have New Yorkers now who are afraid in this city. They're afraid of Donald Trump coming. They're afraid of that anarchy. And they're afraid of the anarchy in the city itself. We have to provide public safety that makes New York.
What anarchy in the city? Crime has been going down here in the city just like it's been going down in all of the blue cities across the country. What anarchy are you talking about? We just had a full day of protest and it was peaceful as hell. This whole idea, look, Republicans yelling and screaming about crime being rampant in the city, that's on brand for them because they love the police and they love to fund the police and they overfund the police. The police are the most coddled bunch of babies here in New York City. The NYPD gets everything they want because they bitch and complain. And if you don't give them everything that they want, they go, well, we're just not going to do our jobs anymore. Any other job that you took that you didn't want to do your job because you didn't like the way things were going, you'd get your ass fired, but not the NYPD. And now Democrats, including our current mayor, Eric Adams, have been just catering to the whims of everything that the police want, mostly because Eric Adams was a cop, also another carpetbagger, lives in New Jersey. But now we have supposed on the left Democrats like Andrew Cuomo, all they talk about is giving the police everything that they want to. I don't think that Zohran is against the police. I just noticed that more and more Democrats are now arguing the Republican line of there's more crime, there's so much crime is rampant. We got to do something about it. Meanwhile, crime has been precipitously going down for the last few years, but it doesn't stop Democrats or Republicans from freaking out about it.
New Yorkers feel safe. Demonstration is one thing. Violating the law is something else. Blocking public transit is something else. Stopping students from going to class is something else.
Nobody was stopping students to go into class at Columbia. That's what he's talking about. He's talking about the protests going on at Columbia College at the very beginning of the genocide that Israel was doing to Gaza. And there was protests going on outside, and Andrew Cuomo is trying to revive this whole thing that protesting is okay, except all of the protesting that I don't like, including anybody that is arguing against Israel's right to blow up Gazans.
Harassment, intimidation, that's a hate crime, that's illegal. Enforce the law. Respect the police. They're not racists, as the assemblyman calls them. They're not a threat to public safety, as he says.
They're not
anti-queer.
Some of them are
here to protect New Yorkers, work with them, fortify them.
You know, that's ironic that you say that now,
I'm sorry,
Andrew
Mr.
Cuomo, because when you were governor for 8 years, your parole board released 43 cop killers back into the street.
Okay,
Your father, when he was governor, released none. I knew Mario Cuomo. You know Mario Cuomo. And
I knew your father. You know fucking Mario. Let me fucking tell you over here. You ain't no fucking Mario. You little boy Andy Cuomo. That's who you are. Anyway, I got one more here for you. They get asked about crime and the police. Like I said, I am so goddamn tired of Democrats screaming and yelling about the crime problem in New York when it's been going down. I'm not saying there's not crime. There's crime everywhere in this country. Everywhere. Black neighborhoods, white neighborhoods, Hispanic neighborhoods. There's crime in every neighborhood. Always. There's always going to be crime. But, of course, they never combat it the right way, you know, trying to do policies to help fight poverty that would bring crime down. No, everybody's prescription plan for fixing crime is just more police. That's putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound, and it's never worked, even though they keep fucking trying.
Remains a top concern for New York City voters. The three of you have very different approaches to crime fighting and how to manage the NYPD. We want to get into your plans. So we'll start with this question. It's a two-part question, but it's short. How will you make the city safer? And how will you change the NYPD? You'll have 1 minute. We begin with Mr. Cuomo.
I would add 5,000. Well, let's take a step back. Remember what happened. The far left, the socialists said defund the police, defund the police. They took $1 billion out of the police.
They never defunded the police. They never did it. Everybody had a hard time with the phrase defund the police, but people failed to mention that there was an even further left contingent that was saying abolish the police. So defund the police was the compromise, but yet Democrats cannot help themselves. They have to join the Republicans in that argument every fucking time. They be loving the police. And by the way, under Joe Biden, they increased police funding all across the country. Even Joe Biden said it at a State of the Union address. He said, "We're not defunding the police, Jack. We're refunding the police." You remember that? He said it.
The NYPD is now down at one of the lowest levels in modern political history. I would add 5,000 police, put 1,500 in the subways, raise the starting salary because you can't hire them. You can't even fill a class right now.
By the way, I don't disagree with paying police a good living wage. My personal opinion, if you are a cop in the city, you need to be living in the 5 boroughs, not out in Long Island. So you can consider Long Island your home and all your tax dollars go to Long Island. And then you come into the city and you feel like this is the war zone. My home is the safe space. New York City's the war zone. I have no community with New York City residents. I just come here to police them.
And you have to add additional police officers because the attrition rate is so high. Part of that is going to be saying to the NYPD, I respect you. I don't think you're wicked, as the Assemblyman said. I don't think you're corrupt. I don't think you're racist. I value you. I will have your back. I'll be a mayor to work with you. That's
I'll
how
kiss
you're
your
going to
ass
police,
and give you everything that you want.
To apply
Crying
for the
little
jobs.
babies.
And then we have to work on the relationship between the community and the police.
It's
the police
amazing.
can't police the community. They have to
Thank
police
you, Mr. Cuomo.
with the
You're
community.
up next, Mr. Sliwa.
This is amazing. I'm standing here with my two adversaries, both of whom have threatened to defund the police. You, Andrew Cuomo, during the summer of 2020, you said, if you don't reform police departments, I'm going to defund you. And you certainly said that, Zohran Mamdani. We need 7,000 police. We only have 32,500. The problem in recruiting police, which neither of you are addressing, is that their insurance was stripped from them. The state, you did nothing when you were governor.
It's not insurance. He's talking about qualified immunity. It's basically like anything that you have done criminal as a police officer, you don't keep it on your record. So like, remember when you were a kid and they would say, don't do anything really bad because it'll go on your permanent record. So that's what qualified immunity is. And if they ever leave New York, they can go to another place and become a cop there, because qualified immunity means that they can't look at your records and see all kinds of fuckery that you did, whether you're a corrupt cop or not. Took away the insurance, man. Don't be taking away the insurance for the cops, man. The cops, they don't need anything on their permanent record. They need to be able to crack some heads and then get on with their lives. You leave them alone. I love the police.
And here in the city, 2021, the city council and Eric Adams did nothing. They don't have qualified immunity, which you benefited from, Andrew Cuomo, with the 13 lawsuits filed against you for sexual harassment. Tom DiNapoli says we're paying out $60 million. Why? Because you had your qualified immunity as governor, and yet people have stood by
Quick
as
response,
police
Mr.
have
Cuomo.
lost their insurance that all civil servants
May I
have.
respond?
That's why you can't get recruits in, because they're not insured. I will return their qualified
Mr.
immunity
Cuomo, quick
because they
response,
need to be
please.
protected like other
Yeah.
civil servants.
That is not New York State. It's New York City. I'm the qualified.
I love how Zohran is just chilling, just sitting back watching Sliwa just tear into Andrew Cuomo, man. He's doing half the job for Zohran Mamdani. I fucking love it, man.
Insurance, unqualified immunity. It's not insurance at all.
You are entitled to
It's
free legal counsel, which is what he's referring to.
Yes.
You have spent.
Yes, but it's
some-
New York City that has revoked qualified.
Look, I grab some asses here and there. I grab a couple of titties. One of them happened to be a cop, but you know, qualified immunity for me, not for thee. Come on, man. You be grabbing some tits and ass, man.
Immunity. It's not insurance. It's qualified immunity. It's nothing to do with insurance.
So that
Thank
protected you in all
Yeah.
these lawsuits.
And yes, the lawsuits, because there was a report filed. I said it was political. It turned out to be political.
No.
And that's why.
No.
All 13 women were lying?
Just say-
Come on, Andrew. All
Just
13
say-
women were lying.
After 5 years.
Some of
A
the
state
cases
trooper,
have
too?
still
Yeah,
been
after
open
5
and
years,
remain
5
open.
DAs, 5 years of
I'm going to
litigation,
move on
I
to
was
Mr.
dropped from
Mamdani.
the case.
Mr. Mamdani, how will
Breathe
you
once
make?
in a while.
Okay, Mr. Mamdani, how will you make the city safer, and how will you change the NYPD?
Thank you. This is the concern for so many New Yorkers, and I'm proud to have a comprehensive plan to bring new ideas to this city. If you want more of the same, vote for Andrew Cuomo. If you want an actual approach to lower crime, look at our Department of Community Safety. That is something that has been hailed by experts as addressing so many of the pieces of why New Yorkers are not feeling safe today. We will ensure that no longer are police officers asked to do the job of both policing and responding to the mental health crisis. We will have dedicated teams of mental health outreach workers in the top 100 subway stations with the highest levels of the mental health crisis and homelessness. We will ensure that cops can finally go back to the response times they used to have in 2020, closer to 11 minutes, as opposed to the closer to 16 minutes today, because they won't be asked to respond to the 200,000 mental health calls that are coming in through 911 every year. This is evidence-based. It's been successful elsewhere in the country. It's time we deliver it right here in New York City. It's time for a
Thank you,
change.
Mr. Mamdani.
And, you know, just to add to that, when you have homeless people and people dealing with mental health crises getting the cops called on them, it's not the help that they need. It's not the help that the homeless person needs. It's not the help that the subway rider needs. You are asking a guy with no mental health training to use his gun and brute force to fix a mental health issue. That is not how you handle it. And I don't want cops having to deal with this. Just like Zohran is saying, I would love it if cops could go after the murders and the sexual assaulters and the burglaries and that kind of violent crime. That's the stuff that they should be handling. A homeless person who is having a moment and losing it on a subway platform or a subway train should not have the cops called on them. They should have a mental health professional come in there and deal with it. That way it takes the load off of the police back, stop giving them every cleanup job in the city. Cops don't need to be dealing with that shit. They can have more time to deal with actual, real, serious crime. And then we'd be able to handle the people going through mental health crises a little bit better and maybe get them the help that they need without putting 3 bullets in their chest. You know what I mean? Now, Curtis Sliwa is on with Nate Friedman here, and he... Man, he doesn't hold back. It's pretty good. Check it out.
To New Yorkers who are against Mamdani, that you and Cuomo are splitting the anti-Mamdani vote. So my question is simple. Are you okay if Mamdani wins that you, so to speak, contributed to that?
Well, number one, Ackman is a jerk. Has he been right yet?
He's talking about Bill Ackman. Bill Ackman is a billionaire asshat who has parked himself in Manhattan. He made his money the old-fashioned way. He stole it on the stock market. He also, after Andrew Cuomo lost in the primary, immediately had a Twitter meltdown and went on this long tirade and rant about, I will give anybody any amount of money to run against Zohran Mamdani because I am desperate not to pay 2% more in taxes, even though I'm worth 10 billies. You know what I mean?
Here's a guy who goes up to Newport, Rhode Island and thinks he's a professional tennis player. Come on, Ackman. Stay in your lane.
Oh, God. Yeah, I forgot that he mentioned that. Bill Ackman is such a self-entitled douche canoe that he bought his way into a tennis tournament. Andy Roddick, an actual, real-life tennis professional who won the U.S. Open, he had to call him out and was like, what is this bullshit? What is this? Just because you're a billionaire doesn't mean that you get to buy your way onto the doubles court. And he's up there just hitting like 50-mile-an-hour serves, not knowing fuck all about the goddamn game, but yet he's got money. So he feels entitled and he bought his way onto it. And Curtis Sliwa is calling him out on that. It's glorious. I love that shit.
Does he know anything about politics? No. Does he live in New York City? No. He lives in Chapaka, the whitest suburb of America, where even the lawn jockeys are white.
Okay, that's a little racist. If you're not familiar with what a lawn jockey is, just look it up online. You're going to see something, you'll be like, ooh, that is racist. So when he says, the neighborhood's so white, even the lawn jockeys have white faces, that's him saying that this place is extra racist.
He may know Wall Street. He may know hedge funds. He has been wrong every step of the way with the billionaires. So let's say people come to the conclusion, if somehow I lose, and we know Andrew Cuomo's lost, he's already tossed in the town. Oh, it's because of you, Curtis. Really? It's because of the Democrats. Wait a second. Who created Zohran Mamdani? Who embraced him? Who nourished him? Who supported him? And how dare you, people who know nothing about politics, suggest that everybody who's going to vote for me is suddenly going to be reborn. We love Andrew Cuomo. He killed all these elderly. He's a sexual harasser. He told conservatives and Republicans in 2014, if you're conservative and you believe in right to life and the Second Amendment, you have no place in New York. You need to leave. This is the result of the Democrats' self-destruction. So I'm supposed to help them? How come they don't help themselves? Andrew Cuomo failed everybody in that primary. He even admitted it. Now he's basically saying, I can't win without Sliwa votes. Where are your votes? Why don't you spend your money and he's got millions from the billionaires. Millions. Go out, get your own votes. Convert Sliwa voters.
I wanted to just mention, he was talking about who nurtured Zohran Mamdani, and he's saying it's the Democrats. No, honey. The Democrats have been fighting Zohran Mamdani and anybody like him tooth and nail, just like they fought against Bernie Sanders, who is also a Democratic socialist. The Democratic Party has not been growing Zohran Mamdani. Zohran Mamdani and Bernie Sanders and AOC, they have grown out of a Democratic Party who has been flipping their fucking nose at them for decades. The Democratic Party is failing. It's because it's become the party of corporate greed. Not for nothing. The Republican Party mastered that shit. So the Democrats are still playing catch up when it comes to corporate fuckery. But the Democrats in leadership have not been growing Zohran Mamdani. Zohran Mamdani and Bernie and all those grew out of necessity because the Democrats were not providing what the voters actually want and need. Oh, just to make a mention, Eric Adams is no longer in the race. He stepped down. And Curtis Lee was like, 7 different people offered me a total of $10 million to get out of the race. And he told them to go fuck themselves. Car, Jeep, chauffeur, headquarters, or operate out of helping the guardian angels help animal welfare. You know, you're watching out there, he said, giving a vulgar chin flick. You can't bribe me, buy me, lease me. I'm not for sale. That's probably one of the reasons why people are looking at this guy, you know, as a Republican, is like, there are so much worse Republicans because they're bought and paid for, and they're all corrupt as the day is long. He is a moron. He's a weirdo. He's definitely not suited to be mayor of New York City, but at least he's got some principles, and I will give him credit for that. But what he is saying in this implication is that they offered him $10 million to leave the race. And what that says to me is, how much money did they offer Eric Adams? Because he's gone. He's not running. He's done. And when he leaves office, he's not going to go to jail for his corruption. He's not going to go down for any of that stuff because he was Donald Trump's boy. And Andrew Cuomo is hoping to take his place in being Donald Trump's boy. But Curtis Lee was like, they couldn't buy me off. That's why I get to stand on this debate stage and tell you what a fucking skunzat you are. What a moron you are. What a corrupt asshole. You know Mario Cuomo, let me tell you, I knew your father. You ain't your father. You little Andy. And this one is just for shiggles. I wanted to show you this because it is hilarious. So Andrew Cuomo, let me set this up. Andrew Cuomo is doing a little presser on a sidewalk on the street here in New York. And this guy shows up in a suit and tie doing a Andrew Cuomo impersonation, and it is fucking glorious. Have a listen.
You're making everyone here feel uncomfortable.
I am Cuomo. I know I make people feel uncomfortable. That is my entire brand. He's right. I am Andrew Cuomo. Okay. I am the real Andrew Cuomo. And if you are a billionaire, I will support your rights. I will support you. If you are an oil exec, I will support you no matter what. This man is not telling the truth. The press is here for me. They want to hear from me. Andrew Cuomo, please, Fox 5. Fox 5, don't put your hands in my face. I am a mayoral candidate. Although I lost the Democratic primary, I will not take no for an answer. I do not take no for an answer, ever. Not when it is the electorate, not when it is a woman in my office. I don't do that.
The joke is over.
The joke has only begun.
Yeah. Do you see this crowd?
Yes, do you see this crowd? All 15 New Yorkers have come to support me. Wait a second. Wait, come here. Come here. Come here. Let me, come on.
Yeah, give me a little kiss.
I'm Italian.
Give me a little kiss. Give me a little kiss. Oh.
Andrew Cuomo did use that as an excuse. I'm a little handsy because I'm Italian. Italians are very handsy. We like to grab and touch people. I'm Italian. Give me a kiss.
Oh.
Scaring children.
We're scaring the children.
It's about to play some music, and I don't want to get copyright struck for it, so I'm not going to play the rest of it, but he ends up kissing this dude. It's kind of funny, but anyway. I am Andrew Cuomo. Oh, my God. Fucking hilarious. Absolutely glorious. Andrew Cuomo. Oh my God. You guys don't know. If you don't live in New York City, you haven't been dealing with this asshole for as long as we have. We've been dealing with Andrew Cuomo for a long ass time. We need him to go away. This guy right here talking about the joke being over. It's never over. When Andrew Cuomo is involved, the joke is still on. And usually the joke is on us. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like and subscribe. Keep rocking.